Hi everyone, I'm Kerry-Ann, super excited for this. I'm the founder of All Access. If you don't know what All Access is, it's a student-run community for those early in their entertainment careers. So undergraduate students, graduate students, those making career pivots, recent graduates. And we work with professional development, networking, and events similar to this. We're partnered with Warner Music Group student programs, and our goal is just to make breaking into the entertainment industry, I'm weak, Holly, but breaking into the music entertainment industry easier. So we cover music, TV, film, all of it. And super excited to have this event just to promote Warner Music Group's Emerging Talent Association program. If you haven't applied, I highly recommend applying. And also today's event is all about how to stand out in these internship applications. Yes, it's the US only. How to stand out, child, in these internship applications, straight from the interns themselves. Representing All Access, we have Holly. I interned with her last summer at Viacom CBS, so happy to see you, sis. And then we have Jamara as well. She actually spoke at our first event about gaining music industry experience as a college student. So I stand both of them. Y'all are going to be in good hands. Please take notes. I know that I will be on the side. So I'll have Mia introduce herself as well.
Yes, thank you, Kerry-Ann. So for those who don't know what the Color Music Collective is, we started about a month ago, and our mission is to amplify POC and LGBTQ music industry executives in the industry. And we do that through networking panels. We also have a blog, and we're about to launch our masterclass series next month. So stay tuned for that and follow us on all of our social media. But yeah, that's just a little bit about COMC. We have a lot of really cool projects going on. So definitely stay tuned for that, especially with Pride Month coming just around the corner. But yeah, that's just a little bit about COMC. So before we get into discussion questions, I'm just going to have all of our panelists go around and do a brief introduction about their internship experience, where they're currently based, their major, and something they're excited to be here today for. So with that, I'm going to start off with Ruth.
Sure. So hi, everyone. My name is Ruth. I'm super excited to be here. Thank you guys for having me. I've never done anything like this before. So I'm really excited, kind of nervous, but overall excited. So yeah, I'm a junior at NYU studying music business. So I'm currently in New York, but I'm originally from Philadelphia. And yeah, I guess previous internships that I've done, I've been able to work in artist management, music publishing, kind of the VIP area of touring. And right now I'm doing an internship in fan engagement, which is really cool. And this summer, I'm going to be working in the music programming department at SiriusXM. So I'm really excited about that. And yeah, I'm really excited to hear everyone's experiences and stories today. So yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Ruth. How about you, Holly?
Hi, I'm Holly. As Ruth said, I'm also a junior at NYU, Tisch School of the Arts, but I have a major in recorded music and a minor in business of entertainment, media, and technology. I am an incoming content and commercial strategy intern at Discovery Communications this summer. But previously, I've interned at COMC Records as touring and events department. I was a Kerry-Ann talent agency doing tour marketing. And Kerry-Ann, I was over at Viacom CBS doing music licensing and strategy over there. And then my very first internship was over at Sony Music's The Orchard, where I was doing college lifestyle and interactive marketing. I'm also currently the music chair for NYU All Asian Arts Alliance, where I throw music business events that highlights the work of many Asian Americans. I'm originally from Los Angeles, but I'm currently based out of New York.
Thank you, Holly. And what about you, Alana?
Hi, everyone. My name is Alana Aquino. I'm originally from Virginia Beach, Virginia, but I'm currently at USC studying music industry with a minor in songwriting. My past internships were in digital marketing and creative sync, and those were a lot of fun. But this summer, I'm hoping to do an internship in touring events as well as artist management, and then, excuse me, and then hopefully land a WMG internship. I am one of the co-leads for the outreach committee at the Color Music Collective, so super glad to be here, and thank you.
Thank you, Alana. And what about you, Rachel?
Hi everyone, I'm Rachel, pronoun she, hers. I'm a junior at Wellesley College, double majoring in econ and music, but I went to NYU for my first year, so I'm a transfer student. Um, and what else am I supposed to say? I'm actually originally from Hong Kong, came to the States for college. Luckily, I have U.S. citizenship, so I was able to secure some internships in the U.S. Um, and previous internships experience include like finance industry stuff, so super unrelated to the music industry. I worked for Special Olympics in the fall as an administrative assistant, and in the spring, I just finished an internship with WMG in Warner Chappell, their music publishing department and their digital department. So it's super specific, but later on in the panel, I hope I have a chance to tell you guys what it's about. So yeah.
Thank you, Rachel. And what about you, Jamara?
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Jamara Robinson. I'm currently a senior advertising major at Howard University. I was born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida, and that's currently where I am now. In terms of experience and places that I work for include just like marketing, sales, of course, advertising, and a little bit of publicity at companies like Sony Music, Spotify, Live Nation, Wyden and Kennedy, Lionsgate, Warner Brothers, just to name a few. So yeah, I'm excited to talk to you all about just breaking in the industry, and thank you guys for having me.
Thank you all for going around and doing a quick introduction. So we're just going to jump right all in, if that's okay. The first question that we have is, what experience did you all have prior to your first breakthrough in the music industry? And feel free to just go around and jump in.
I can go. So for me, it was a weird path for me because originally like I wanted to be a mechanical engineer. So I wasn't able to go to my very first concert alone until I got to NYU because yeah, like over there I noticed this person. He was taking photos of the concert, and then I approached and I was like, hey, like, are you like Sheck West's photographer? And he said, oh no, like I'm just a student here, but I'm in program board. And program board is it's just an org that puts on like all the concerts for NYU basically. And then over there, I volunteered a lot, and then I became marketing chair. And then my freshman year and then in my sophomore year, I wrote a lot of articles based on like concert reviews, artist reviews, and then just news about the music industry is how I got my footing into the music industry. And then I also was a part of this music collective that I did with my friends, and we were like our own mini record label for a bit, and it was called Potluck Records. And over there, I did like A&R work, and I also did marketing for them as well.
I can jump in here. Similar to Holly, I started in journalism. So I did a lot of course, music writing for a lot of our on campus, both radio, newspaper, yearbook, things of that nature. Even did like a little bit of broadcast as well, but around music. And so a lot of like that early experience for me was just on campus organizations. Outside of that, I did like some marketing work, wrote for like Her Campus. What else did I do? I did, again, a lot of different on campus things. I was like members of things too. So like GrammyU and National Black Association of Journalism. Just different things like that, AMA as well. So I think that really just helped me, of course, get the experience to both learn about the industry, actually go to these companies, and then just do like the basic ground level work. So that really helped me out a lot.
I have a pretty similar experience with lots of on-campus organization kind of stuff. I spent my first couple years just really trying to be part of things like GrammyU, and then we have a Filipino organization on campus that I'm really devoted to, and I spent an entire year planning our culture night show, which was a lot of fun. There was a lot of transferable skills that I think helped me before landing my first internship. I also did a lot of volunteering. So coming from Virginia Beach to LA, I just found a whole bunch of different opportunities and tried to be as proactive as possible in just trying to stay active within the local scene. I had a few friends who, were able to bring me on to different shows and kind of get more integrated into the scenes.
I had a very similar experience to Holly, actually. I started doing like concert reviewing and concert photography for a website that was like local to my hometown. So like really starting small. And honestly, at the time, I was like a freshman in high school when I started, and I was taking a photo one class, but I like didn't really know my way around a camera, but like I kind of just like, you know, like made them believe that I did in a way, you know, like, and they like trusted me to like give me a shot. And they were like, yeah, like if you're interested in this, like we're gonna let you like try shooting a show and like see how it goes. And it ended up working out really well. And that's been like something that I've been able to like continue like all throughout high school and like even up until like now. Obviously like shows aren't happening, but definitely started in like concert photography, concert reviewing, and yeah, kind of like Alana said, like being involved in like the local scene was definitely something that like helped me start before I had like any experience at all.
Okay, so I think my path is kind of different from all of you guys. So I started out as actually a teaching major at NYU, and when I was younger, I played a lot of like musical instruments, like every good Asian, violin, piano, and so when I got to NYU, I kind of told myself like, stop, like you don't. Like you can't really pursue music as a career, so I chose like teaching. But at NYU, like as you can see from the panelists, you guys are surrounded by such great culture, and a lot of my friends were also like in Tisch, in Steinhardt, and so I kind of got like dragged into the really loving the entertainment business. And then I kind of decided, well, I really have a passion for economics as well as music, so kind of merging those together. And I applied to the WMG Classroom Series, which I think a couple of you guys are in. And I also took a law class, a music law class at UCLA this past COVID summer, just to like try to figure out, how does business and law and music work together and intersect. So yeah.
So what I'm getting from everyone is stay involved in school outside of just the classroom, get really involved in the local scene, and just like be open-minded and like go from teaching to the entertainment industry. Am I right? Also, shout out to all the beautiful women of color on this stage right now. I'm living for it. Okay, so let's get to the real part, why everyone is here. So in terms of breaking in terms of getting these internships like how do you think you were able to stand out in such competitive programs? Like from what I'm hearing, a lot of the things that you all are talking about are exactly direct experience. So how were you able to sell those transferable skills or things that you've accumulated outside of the internship? So like your on-campus experience, your projects, just any kind of hustle that you've had, like how were you able to sell that? Please let us know, and we'll follow up with the questions about resume, cover letters. I got y'all after that.
For me, I think like what really helped me is that I made sure to be open to learning everything, because like I had no idea like what I wanted to do in music yet. All I had known is like I was pretty good at marketing, so like I made sure to have marketing stand out in my resume and like and then do my own projects so that whenever I was applying to more internships, like they could think of me as like a marketing intern. But with that being said, yeah, like I feel like me being open to like learning more things about music, and then also making sure that I was well versed in many areas as possible really helped me when I was applying to different internships. And then like as you can see from like my experience, like it's kind of like all over the place. But I feel like now that I've been able to explore different parts of the industry, I've been able to kind of like narrow down like what I want to do, which has really helped me.
Yeah, for me, I think what really helped was when those early organization positions is to always make sure like I took the initiative to have work to show. So whether that's like my radio clips or whether that's like my journalism bylines or just doing different events and making sure I take pictures if nobody else did to actually show that I did the work, and then putting that on a portfolio to show people whoever you are applying for. And then I think outside of that, for me, I went to a lot of events like this on campus and just in the city, and just making sure you talk to those people who can put you in the right position. So of course, I'm sure we'll hear about networking, but definitely make sure you talk to the right people as well.
Yeah, I definitely did a lot of networking kind of leading up to my first few internships. One of the things, in addition to trying to get very concrete things that would represent me and my work and portfolio, I also just try to do as much research as possible. When I was in my interview for my first internship, I talked about like my volunteering experience and what really got me to want to, explore creative sync licensing. I really tried to come from like a place of genuine passion because I was really interested in it at the time. And I had just a lot of, or it was like, because in high school, I was really interested in sync licensing and that was like my whole thing. I wrote all my college papers about it and I just tried to convey as much passion as possible when I was talking to the intern recruiter. But I definitely just tried to do as much research as possible because I didn't want to go in being, not as educated about the topic and the department.
Yeah, I'll like echo pretty much what everyone else just said. I think for me personally, like learning as much as you can and like showing that you're like willing to like take in all the information, I think is super important because I feel like they're always looking for people who are open to learning and not just like, you have to be open to like new experiences, new opportunities, and be willing to like listen. Because if you do listen, then like you'll learn so much, and definitely like showing the passion that you have and like making sure that they like see how like interested and how like passionate you are about like music or the music industry. I think that's also really important too. So yeah, being open and just like really like channeling like what drives kind of your passion and like getting that across when you're like talking to people.
Yeah, I think just to echo like what everybody else said, like the first thing you really have to do is narrow down what you want to work in the music industry, like what Holly said. You can't just be a floater because there's so many people who like already know what they want to do. So if you don't have something specific that you want to focus on, then it's kind of a lost cause trying to find an internship. Like I just have to like put that out there. And then I think secondly, you have to like be proactive in really finding information about the industry because this is not an industry that like, appears on the news all the time in like Wall Street Journal or anything. You really have to do your own research. So like the Bible of the music industry, I think I have it right here. It's like all you need to know about the music business, Donald Passman. You got to read this book. And I think once you read the book, you'll find your focus and it'll be narrowed down. And then just the third thing, what I did for my resume, I'm sure Asma, like the WMG HR recruiter, is going to hate me for saying this, but I wrote a small paragraph about my interest in the music industry to really try and solidify and sell myself because I didn't have a lot of music industry experience. So I just wrote about my interest in business and law and how that applies to the music industry. And I'm sure like that's probably what helped my resume stand out. And yeah, just don't freak out about having to recruit or network or suck up because like if your resume stands out and like if you know your focus, then I mean you'll stand out naturally.
Rachel, you couldn't have said it better. If you come correct, people will want to help you. So I'm going to follow up just a little bit because I'm a little bit curious. Also, really highlighting on that, narrow down, be kind of specific, but explore that bubble. Like if you know you like communications, like explore marketing, promotions, like there's so many opportunities out there. So speaking about that, Jamara, like I know you're in Sony Music U. So what has that experience been like in working like as college marketing representative and getting more experience on campus, but still associated with a large company?
Yeah, so that's a position that I've been in longer than anything else. I've been there for 3 years and I've seen so much change, of course, from like in person to pandemic. But that position has allowed me to really get like a well-rounded perspective on just marketing itself and then just a label life. So we've done everything from events. Of course, we used to go to concerts and like talk to the fans, doing content itself, executing our own events. We used to actually, I call it back in the day now because they don't do it anymore, but we used to actually go to fans and like give them promotional tools based on whatever artists we were marketing. We used to put up posters, the whole nine. So that's just really taught me, again, just like how labels work. We got the opportunity to work with each of their labels. So from Columbia, RCA, all of them. And of course, work across genres as well. So I know what it's like to execute a hip hop artist, know what it's like to execute a country artist. So that was super beneficial in that. And also, that really just taught me the importance of also not always going for the company, because, you know, when you're in it or when you're looking from the outside, you don't always know what to expect. But I always would say, just after that experience, to make sure you pick the people before the company, because the people are who you're with 24/7, and they could not always align with what you think the company was like. So that taught me a big lesson in that, especially as management changed throughout my time there. So yeah.
I love that. Also, Jamara and I actually, I used to go to school in DC. We had the same like internship with Live Nation and the Fillmore Silver Springs. So if you're interested in like working with a concert venue, like I know the Fillmore does brand ambassador, and like I got Live Nation on my resume because of that, and was able to convert it also to an internship. So look out for something like that and similar college ambassador programs. This is more targeted towards underclassmen. You can still do it remotely. Warner Music Group has Warner Music U.
GrammyU.
Yes, and GrammyU as well. Not employed by them, but we'll plug it. So thank you for that. So Alana and Ruth, so you both work with Color of Music Collective. So like Mia, I'm gonna have you talk about Color Music Collective tomorrow, but like I want to hear from them. What has that experience been like working on the outreach committee and gaining that experience with something that's literally started by students and recent graduates?
I've had like such a privilege to be part of the Color of Music Collective since around like the beginning. So Mia and I was one of the first volunteers that she had ever recruited, which was awesome. And we have grown so much. And I think being able to talk about just the growth that Color of Music Collective has had, and you know what my part and my co-lead's part in that is and has been very fulfilling. The organization itself and the mission is something that's really important to me, which is why I wanted to stick with it as long as possible and try to do whatever I can to help it grow. And I've just, you know, we've had a lot of opportunities to connect with the panelists that we bring on, because we do biweekly panels. And it's also just given me a chance to have some kind of responsibility that, you know, isn't necessarily tied to an internship, but it almost kind of feels like I'm gaining the kind of experience that I would be in another kind. So it's just been really helpful in so many different ways, but also just really fulfilling because it's something that I'm very passionate about and I love talking about it. When I interview, I love just talking about it. When I do informational interviews with recruiters or with people, you know, from companies that I really want to intern at. So.
Yeah, totally agree with everything Alana just said. When I first started as a volunteer, I actually like did my first like interview with Alana. So she like interviewed me to like be a volunteer. So it's like, I think it's kind of funny. And it's like really cool how I all like come together, because like everyone that's part of Color Music Collective is like so passionate about it and is like really stands behind the mission. And similarly to Alana, like it's so important to me to like see like people of color and like Black people and like just, you know, people that are very much like underrepresented get to like share their stories and get to hear it like directly from them. And getting to interact with the panelists has been really cool as well. I was connected with one of the panelists last year, and now I consider her a friend, which is really cool. And yeah, I think the mission is really important, and the panels are a really great way to learn about like different areas in the music industry and just hear so many different perspectives. So yeah, it's been a really, really great experience, and like I love everyone like on the team. So it's really great.
Also, so Rachel, you were a WMG Career Classrooms participant. So how were you able to because there's some students who are in the spring program. How can we transition into an internship with WMG? But yes, Rachel, I want to know, like, how did you make your way in?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is when you're doing the career like classroom series, you really reach out to the people on like the panelists. Actually, one of the panelists I got to ask a question to became like one of my bosses, like one of the people that I work for. And but I I think just doing the career classroom series gives you an advantage with the recruiters because you get to check off like the little box that you've done a WMG student program, and that way like it'll definitely ensure that your resume stands out. And I think in your interview, if you get this to the stage of the interview, just talking about how the series really allowed you to solidify your desire to work in the industry. I think that definitely, like, it's always good to hear that, that's a company that helped you and you want to help and give back to the company. So that's always a good angle to take. I think just Asma's a really great resource. So if you just talk to her, you don't have to like update her with every small line in your resume, but just reaching out and saying like, "Oh, I'm really interested in these opportunities. Like, do you know if there's anything for like I want to pursue something in the legal department. So is there anything for undergraduates in the legal department?" And she'll definitely like at least try to find something for you. If not, like she'll definitely like I think point you to other resources. But like talking to Asma and just doing the career classroom series and talking to the panelists, I think make a very big difference.
We stand Asma. So if y'all don't know who that is, Asma is the Warner Music Group student programs lead. She's actually looking for an intern. I'm recruiting for her. So I'm gonna drop the link in the chat. Y'all better come correct. If you don't, but let's get her, one of y'all to be her intern. Okay. So anyway, so Holly, I see that you are the music chair for NYU's Tisch All Asian Arts Alliance, child, alliteration. Okay, how has that experience been like? I've been stalking your Instagram. You brought some amazing music people there. Like, so what is that like being able to gain that experience on campus and like interact with like emerging people in the music industry?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm the music chair for NYU All Asian Arts Alliance, and it's actually the first ever. It's Tisch's first ever inclusive support slash collab network for artists of Asian descent. And yeah, I reach out to a lot of people in the music industry, like producers, songwriters, and executives to be in our events. I recently had Kato, the producer, Kato on the track, who he made the TikTok song So Pretty, the one like that goes like I'm so shy, and then like that one, and then he did like a beat breakdown for that. It was really cool, really engaging. And then a few weeks ago I had Ria Pasricha, who is the head of A&R over at Prescription Songs, which is a music publishing company, and some of her work includes like Don't Start Now by Dua Lipa. She's worked with like a bunch of songwriters that who have like worked with like who have like worked with Maroon 5, Ariana Grande, and many other people as well. And then next week, actually, I'll be having a Q&A event with John Vincent Salcedo, who is the VP of Digital Marketing at Columbia Records. And I'm going to have him do a Montero campaign breakdown and Q&A. So like that'd be really fun. He's actually like the very first. He's the I think like the very first Filipino American VP and the only Filipino American VP at Columbia. And he's also one of the youngest. I think he's 29 years old, and he's worked with Harry Styles, Polo G, Lil TJ, Dominic Fike, and many more other artists. But yeah, I really love putting on these events because like I feel like a bunch of people of color are kind of excluded out of the music industry when it comes to like the business side of things. And I really wanted to uplift that community because I feel like when I was growing up in Los Angeles, I grew up low income, and I feel like in low income schools, they really do push STEM careers, which is why like I wanted to get into like mechanical engineering. So I feel like being able to form this community of like of other Asians, and also highlight showcasing the work of other Asians in music really does help with encouraging other people to pursue the music industry. So I've been really glad that I've been able to do this for other people.
Thank you. We love to see it.
Yeah.
So all of y'all are just, like I said, be involved on campus, find programs like Color Music Collective and All Access to be involved in, and be strategic with your networking and ask questions, and people will want to help you. Am I summarizing everybody correctly? Okay, thank you. Mia, you got a question?
Yes. I was just wondering if you guys can maybe give some advice when someone is generating a resume or maybe even a portfolio if they're interested in more of the creative field, cover letters, and maybe even an interview. Any tips that you guys have for that?
I think one tip that I have is that if you don't have any experience with making your own website, like from scratch, and like you don't know how to code, use the templates that Squarespace, Wix, whatever portfolio website builder like that you can find has been really helpful. For a resume, design wise, like if you're a creative person, obviously, like if you can make like a really creative, colorful resume, like that's what I do. And make sure to not have any like open space. Like just think of it design wise and then what would appeal to the eye more. For cover letters, what I usually do is that I give an intro. Thank you, Kerry-Ann. I give an intro about myself in the first paragraph, and I say like, I'm applying, I want to be considered for this opportunity. And then I say like my school, my major, my minor, and then I say what skill sets I have and, like the skills that would be applicable to the internship that I'm applying for. And then I briefly mention any classes that I have that are relevant to the position. And then in the body paragraph, if I have any projects that are related to the work that I would want to do for this internship, then I would be like, oh, through school, like, and then make like a bullet point and then write like a whole mini paragraph situation for like a school project or for an internship project. And then in the third paragraph, like the very last paragraph, I make sure to say like it would be an honor to apply for this internship, and then I would write down some three industry news stuff that is related to the company. So I'll be like, oh, I noticed that like your company has been doing these things to I don't know, to better help this department, which I want to go into, I think that those are all of my tips and advice that I can give.
Yeah, for me, I would second everything that Holly said. For me, my portfolio is on Squarespace, which is super helpful. It's super user friendly. In terms of resume, I also have a creative looking resume. It isn't such like Times New Roman font type of thing to really, I guess, help stand out when people look at it. Of course, they look at your resume for a couple of seconds, so you want it to grab if you're going in a creative field. I also think what helped me stand out in terms of resume is just being as descriptive as possible. So whether that's just in the words that you use or just being really specific about the work that you did and not just generalizing the role itself. And then they also always mention to, if you can, try to quantify the work that you did. So that's including numbers, how many pieces of work you did. I know it's hard because we technically can't say like we grew business by such and such percent, but try if you can to quantify it as well. But yeah, being super descriptive. For me, on my resume, I have experience, I have, of course, education, then I have skills and affiliation. So I'll also include like the orgs that I am a part of.
I definitely third everything that they said. One of the things that I really love to do is when I have an internship position that I really want to apply for, I do a lot of LinkedIn stalking and I find people who were in the positions before or who were in that specific like internship position. And I look at the description of what kinds of things that they did at the company. And I just, if I, haven't had specific experience with that, I would try to find what transferable skills I had and where I could demonstrate that, oh, I know how to do that, or I know that I could learn how to do that. There are like a bunch of career social media accounts that I follow on like Twitter and LinkedIn. And I usually just kind of like, before I turn in anything, I try to like go through and make sure that I'm like still adhering to all of the tips that they give. One of my favorites on Twitter is Jobs with Shay, and she just tweets a whole bunch of stuff all the time about different tips that she has. And then another thing that I also try to do too, especially because, I definitely will send that in the chat, especially because you're, really expected to tailor your resume whenever you apply to different positions is I like to find there's like these posts that I always go back to that I've bookmarked that have like words to avoid in your resume and cover letter, and then words to use in your resume and cover letter. And I just try to take those things into consideration as much as possible. But yeah, one of the best compliments that I had on my resume was that it looked like a menu. And I was like, that's exactly what I want. Whatever they want to know, like let them go to each section, and that's perfect. So definitely echo the design aspect and just making sure it all kind of flows well and is easy on the eyes.
Totally agree with everything that was just said, especially about like being specific. I think that's like really important to like use numbers where you can. I would also say like always have someone else read your resume too, because there might be like something that you missed, because like you look at your resume like so much that maybe your eyes just kind of like glaze over things at like a certain point. So definitely have like a friend or like a mentor, or even like the career center at like your school or university. I think they're really helpful with like giving resume feedback. So I think that's something that's definitely helped me, having like mentors like read over my resume and like working with them on that. In terms of like interviewing, I would definitely say like don't be afraid to like show your personality and like be yourself, especially because like if that's where like your passion like for the music industry comes from, then it's like super important to like show that. And I know it's like weird to say like don't be afraid to be yourself, because like why would you be anything else? But it can definitely be hard, especially in interviews, because like you're thinking about like a lot of things at once, and like you want it to go really well, so it can be hard. But yeah, I definitely think that that's like an important aspect as well.
Yeah, definitely for the interview, like be yourself. I think with the resume, you really have to practice discretion in catering to each position, especially like if you want to go for something more creative like marketing, then definitely do like a colorful resume. I've seen a lot of amazing ones on LinkedIn, like they do like a Spotify themed one for Spotify, like stuff like that. But if you want to go into something more practical, definitely just do a traditional black and white resume. I think practicing discretion is always wise when you're handing out your resume for professional fields. And with the interview, so with Warner, I got a higher view first, and then I got to do a personal interview if I pass the higher view. And for I'm not sure if you guys know what a higher view is, but it's basically like a video.
Can you
Oh,
shed some light on the higher view, please? I keep getting questions.
Yeah, for those who just aren't familiar, just do a little brief overview.
Okay, so a higher view is like a video link where you click it and then they'll give you the questions. You have to press like start, and then they'll give you the questions in real time. They'll give you 30 seconds to plan, and then you have to film like a response. I think Warner's was like, oh, anything below 3 minutes for like elaborating your response on the question. And then they give you like 5 questions, and then that's the end of the interview. And I think Warner gives you a 48-hour time window to finish the higher view, which can be really stressful. But I actually did a lot of finance recruiting in the beginning of the fall, and the finance recruiting really taught me how to prepare for interviews, because I mean it's really intense. It's like back to back. And with the higher views for Warner, you get 3 chances to film each question, so you can like erase your chances. But with like finance, you really only get 1 chance. So I think when you practice, I would suggest writing out all the possible questions they could ask you, and you like physically write out your responses and practice like how long it would take, because it's really easy to ramble. And I think once you write out all your experiences, you'll find 2 to 3 stories that stand out, that will allow you, like, that will fit into every single question. Like, what makes you a good team? Like, what's like a teamwork experience you're proud of? What's like a teamwork challenge you had? Like, usually those questions will be easily filled with 1 story, so you really only need to prepare like 2 to 3 stories for an interview. And then yeah, I think just practicing, like when I say practice, it's literally like repeating everything that you wrote down versus just like trying to wing it when you go in. So yeah, and also just to second what Holly said about industry news, keeping up with industry news is so important. A newsletter that I've been following is Digital Music News. You can subscribe to their email, but it's really important to keep up with industry news.
I wanted to piggyback on Rachel actually about when it comes to interviews. I think what really has helped me is I will search up potential interview questions for the company. Like I will, like if it's for like Warner, say for them, I will be like, I don't know, like Warner Music Group internship interview questions, and then there will be like a mass forum of like people from like Glassdoor writing down writing down their interview experience, and then also adding in some of the questions that that they have encountered during their own interviews with them. And then I think Alana said this, but like also connecting with people on LinkedIn, other people who have interned in those same positions, asking them like who did you work with? Is there anyone that I could speak to? And then asking them what questions they were asked during their own interview, and if they have any tips that they would like to share.
Love that. I'm retired from the music industry, but I'm gonna give my advice, okay? With what I saw when I recruited for Ozma's intern last week. Read the job description clearly and look at what the position entails rather than looking at the company. And be able to explain how your things fit. And when I made like a LinkedIn post, I will post it later. I made a LinkedIn post with like all my takeaways. I'm gonna be honest here. It was kind of frustrating how many people I had to follow up with and say, this is an HR internship. It's not just Warner Music Group. You need to read. Attention to detail is very important in these spaces. So if you're not reading it, it's like, next, sorry, like I was trying to be as nice as possible because I understand, but like I was like, next. Like she told me like these companies know who to weed out or not. So like making sure that you are reading. Eligibility is the next one. Like these internships require you to be an enrolled student, but like usually they required you to graduate after the internship ends. So like Warner Music Group, graduation is December 2021 to August 2023. So if you're like a recent grad, May, and it says clearly like, is your graduation date here, but you still apply, it's just like you didn't pay attention. So the little things like that is like, that's usually what gets people rejected, is just because they're not paying attention to the little details. I'm gonna like, I got a lot with that. In terms of the resume, like when I say connect the dots, just like transferable experience. So like if the job description says like, oh, make PowerPoint decks, like show your times that you've done doing that. So connect the dots, and like paint a picture, and then be able to explain like why this position, why this company. Also, sorry, I'm going on a tangent. A little bit help is Warner Music Group Student Programs has an Instagram page where students literally take over the Instagram. When I was applying for Viacom CBS, they have a similar thing. I watched every single takeover, and I took note of what are the common themes of the interns. Some people are posting a resume, some people are posting an internship interview questions. Like there's like a lot of, like when I say do as much research as possible, like figure out all like that's out there from the former, from the current interns, and do that. And then networking helps as well. But don't slide in people's messages and be like, hey, Holly, I see you at Columbia Records, and it's her first day, and you're like, so how, like, can you refer me? Can you send my resume? No, what? Hell no. Excuse my French. Hell no. I've had so many people do that to me. Hell no. I will never send anything your way after that. I've had so many people do that. I'm sure plenty of those people. Anyway, it's not about me. So back to the panelists, right? So Jamara, are we forgetting that you were a Spotify intern last summer? Now, Spotify, like, I'm sure everybody has been trying to make their way in. Like, you actually had a very unique way of getting in. Like, Can you expand more about that? And like, what can students be looking out for something that's super large and competitive as a Spotify?
Yeah, for sure. So for me, I got my Spotify internship by being a part of the opening act challenge, which is for Black and Latinx students. So this gives you the opportunity to boost your internship application by participating in a competition across different departments. So for me, as an advertising major, I did their ad sales category. And basically they gave us a mock business problem to solve. And I submitted, of course, my solution to that in like I want to say 10 or more page deck. They flew us out to New York and we actually had to present it in front of the people who would be our managers. It was like 2 people per category you were competing against. And of course, me winning that landed me an internship, but just in like, I think it's important to share like the importance of how I actually won, which is when you're doing things like Spotify, anything in the music industry is super competitive. So almost to echo what everybody else was talking about is just research, just to make sure you understand how the platform works. Like we all can stream music all day, but like, do you understand how ads go on the platform? Do you understand how people end up on playlists? Like actually knowing how things work is super important. But just outside of that, it's also important to look for those opportunities that are unique to who you are. There's so many different things that exist out here to actually help Black and Brown, Asian, Latinx students actually boost their opportunity in industries because we're not as represented. So just make sure you look out for those.
Thank you for that. And then, so also, Holly, you've broken into some really top, so I'm talking Sony Music, Entertainment, Viacom, CBS, now you're going on to Discovery. So in terms of like, what do you think was it that helped you stand out? Like, did you network beforehand or did you just cold apply? And like, what are some things that you did to just help boost your application a little bit more?
Yeah, of course. So I actually have never gotten an internship through a referral before. So it was a lot of like cold applying basically, and just applying to as many internships like as possible. Um, for the application process you said, or like how did I like make myself stand out?
Just at every application and then interview as well.
Yeah. I think what helped me like stand out, I would say during these applications would be my resume, because I'm a very creative person. So I made sure that my resume was like top notch, like as much as I could. And then I would always make sure to make my personality shine through the interview, because I was talking to I was having like an info interview with this one person who works in legal over at Sony, and then she told me like this advice, like make sure that you would want to be someone that someone would like to say hi to in the morning. So like make sure that you're really nice and personable, and make sure that the person who is interviewing you knows that you're very open to learning things, and that you're a very hard worker. Um, I think what also has helped me at the end of my interviews, I would say, is asking the right questions. Like never come to an interview and not ask any questions. Like when they ask, do you have any questions? Like that is your time to show your interest in the company, and to also show more about you. So if there is any like industry news topic that their company is involved in, like I would ask them about that, or I would ask them like what is their idea of success for this internship. Um, and I would ask them at the end too, like, is there any other, do you have like any other questions for me that I could answer for you? And yeah, I think like stuff like that, make sure like that you're really nice, and try to find different ways that you could highlight yourself and make yourself more marketable. Um, I forgot how I would just try to add in like fun professional facts about you. Like sometimes like during my interviews, I would mention that I got an A+ on my law final for entertainment law, and how I was like I don't know, how I was the only person in like all my teachers' years of teaching to say like that I got like an A+ and like the highest score that he's ever seen in all of his years of teaching. Yeah, it's like just like things like that, I would say. Just shine out. Yeah.
Thank you. We love to see it. So Rachel, Alana, and Ruth. So I don't know y'all's business, but I know that you probably have some great summer plans in the work and y'all are making your way up into the music business. So I wanted to ask you, like, since Holly and Jamara have accumulated like a wealth of experience, for y'all who are still, you know, racking things up under your belt, like what is that process like with the recruitment? And like, what's the difference between you last year and you this year in terms of a summer internship? Let's go. Let's get to the nitty gritty with that one.
Okay, I'm gonna go first because it's very different. So last year, around this time, I was not around this time, but maybe like around January of last year, I was thinking, yeah, I wanted to go into the entertainment business, and I had some background in finance, so like I was like, okay, how do I apply that? But I didn't actually understand the licensing structures in the industry, and at the end of the day, the music business is a licensing industry. Like basically, that's how you're making your money. So for me, like over the summer, I got rejected from everything I applied to. So over the summer, I went back home to Hong Kong. I worked in a small finance firm and just learned as much as I could. And in the internship that I had, they allowed me to do like research on companies that I wanted to do research on. So I picked Disney, Viacom, and Comcast, and I looked into their financial reports and just learned about the structure of the company. And then also I took the UCLA law class and a financial accounting class, but that was really boring. But I think all of these classes and experiences just helped me accumulate a wealth of knowledge about, you know, the legal structures in the industry. And so when it got time for my interview, like when my interviewer asked like, oh, how do you license karaoke, which is like something that he was working on, like I knew how to answer that. And yeah, it was the first time like their department had an intern, because like no one really took the time to look into the legal structures of the industry like on their own. So I think taking classes definitely helps you. And this summer I'm doing something not in the music industry, but I think in the fall my manager has asked me to come back. So
Yeah, so this time last year, we were in quarantine, and I was basically just now starting to get involved with the Color Music Collective, or that would be in like May-ish in June. And I really think that was one of the things that helped me learn as much as I could. You know, I had taken a lot of classes throughout the music industry program, but I was really just trying to find things that I could like take what I've learned and put it into something that was tangible, you know? And so I completed 2 virtual internships over like the summer and then the fall. And then I was also, you know, trying to do what I could with the Color Music Collective. But really, when quarantine was happening, there were so many panels going on. There were so many things that were just all online that we all had access to. So I was trying to just take a lot of time to learn as well and just research and connect with people, because people in the industry were just a little more accessible now. And so I think that's something that's really helped as well. I have been trying to be part of mentorship / masterclass programs as whenever those applications would be available. So I'm currently part of one called Diversify the Stage, which is in partnership with Music Forward. And that has been absolutely amazing because of the people that I've been able to meet, the mentors that have, you know, taken the time to come in and teach and connect with us. And then I was also in one with Girls Who Listen, and I got a mentor from that as well, made a lot of great connections, you know, the networking horizontally with all of the like peers and people who are my age, and then now transitioning to being in the Warner Music Group Career Classroom series. It's just been a lot of learning, taking in, and reflecting on the things that did and didn't necessarily work out in my application processes. And then I'm actually really looking forward this summer to being hopefully part of the Color Music Collective's volunteer mentor program because that's something that we've started for our volunteers. So in addition to that, hoping to take on a couple internships still in the finalization processes, just because, you know, this is about the time that everything is being processed and finalized, but it's very exciting, lots of learning, just really trying to take in time to reflect and all that.
I would say for me, like for the internship that I'm going to be doing this summer, I've applied to it like maybe like 3 or 4 times in the past, and like it hasn't worked out, but like, you know, we finally had like a breakthrough. So it was kind of like a process of like, you know, making it to maybe the video interview, and then like maybe not moving forward from that point, but like realizing like what I could improve on, like where I could get better. And then maybe like the next time it was like, I don't know if you can hear, like there's like stuff going on outside. I'm sorry if you can hear that. But the next time it was like making it to like the like person interview, like talking to like an actual person rather than like recording yourself, like answering the questions, kind of like Rachel was talking about. So like, you know, making it to that point and then maybe like not moving forward and then realizing like, how can I make myself like a better candidate in the like in-person interview? So it was kind of like a process of like, just like improving and like finding where I could get better throughout the different stages of that like interview process. So that's like kind of where I'm at like with the internship that I'm going to be doing. And like in terms of last year, I definitely agree with what Alana was saying. I was also part of mentorship programs. And I think that was like a really great way to like meet people in the industry, because like people are willing to like talk to you and like teach you about their experiences. And if you have like really good, genuine questions, like they're going to be more than happy to like sit down and like answer them. Yeah, the Girls Who Listened program, me and Alana were in it together. It was honestly one of the like coolest experiences because we got to like meet like some of the most amazing people in the industry and hear their stories and like relate to them. So yeah, mentorship programs were a huge part of like my last year, and I'm excited to like keep doing more, because I think especially if like maybe networking isn't like really like your strong suit, I think mentorship is like the best alternative, because you still get to meet people and you still get that like one-on-one time with industry professionals, but like it's a lot easier to like ask questions and get to like talk to people in that situation. So yeah.
Hey everyone, we just want to it's coming up on 5, so if anyone has any questions, like feel free to raise your hand or put in the chat box. Oh okay, we asked earlier.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Okay, how are we gonna do this? No, because we really asked earlier. We really asked earlier. Okay. I'm playing with y'all. So, and the
Andrew, do you want to kick us off?
Sure. Thank you so much. And thanks to all the panelists for taking the time and chatting with us today. It sounds like from everyone's story, you all have like really unique paths. And so something I wanted to ask like on that note was just how you went about kind of crafting your narrative and then showcasing that within like your resume, cover letter, and then your interview.
I can jump in here. For me, that's a great question because I'm more so in the past year realizing the importance of not only having a narrative, but having a point of view just outside of having experience that's similar, because we can all like pair all the marketing titles together. But I think what can really help you stand out is taking that resume and almost telling a story with the experience that you had. So for me, I haven't quite cracked that, but I will know that that is something important to do.
Something that I went to like a LinkedIn resume or workshop like sometime over quarantine, and it was with somebody who was like working at LinkedIn, and he was talking about how like your resume and LinkedIn are similar but different in the way that LinkedIn is where you actually tell your story. And I in one of the career classroom series things, Asma was talking about how when she finds someone's resume, she actually looks at their LinkedIn too. So I would just kind of say, I mean, that's kind of something that I would almost expect all the recruiters to kind of look at your LinkedIn if they come across your resume. But so I would definitely recommend using LinkedIn as a way to like really craft your narrative, especially in like your description, in your headline, in your like every single part of like what you did at each company or with each organization. I still kind of have to figure out how to do that and take the time to do it, but it's definitely something that would be really helpful.
I want to add to Alana. I feel like LinkedIn is like make LinkedIn your best friend basically. I feel like if you're able to get your LinkedIn profile to like all-star, like that'll be really helpful towards you. And I feel like what helped me get it up there, I think one of the qualifications for that is that you must get your connections up to 500 plus, I believe. So like one tip that I did is that I added a bunch of people within my NYU alumni network on LinkedIn, and then I would be like, hey, like I know like that you're in the music industry or entertainment industry, and then I would like love to connect with you. And then if possible, like I would love to chat with you sometime just to like learn more about you and that. And then also making sure make sure to add in bullet points about what you did at a particular job or volunteer work like that you've done. Is really nice too to have, since you can't always write all of your bullet points on your actual resume. So like LinkedIn is like an extension of your resume, and you know like recruiters also take LinkedIn very seriously. And another thing for interviews, one question that I love asking is how did you find yourself working at this company? How did you find yourself working in music? Because I feel like people like something like people don't always like fall into music, or like everyone has their own story of how they got into music. So I think like being able to connect with someone on a music level and being able to form a community with them was really important too when it comes to interviewing with someone, because like you're able to kind of like treat them as your friend and make them think that you could be someone that they could work with, you know?
Also, quickly following up from that, you don't need to go to a target school like a NYU to do an alumni network. You can just connect with people on like a common ground. So maybe like, you know, I don't know, find something to review their LinkedIn profile and see, or like people just like are fine with you connecting like, hey, if you're interested in Columbia Records, hey, Holly, I'm applying for this internship, would love to learn more about how I can better position myself, rather than just like, hey, Holly, I'm interested, send my resume. There's a difference. Okay, but follow, whoever's next can follow.
I wanted to like really quickly just like emphasize that last piece that Holly mentioned about like that like music kind of connection, that like personal connection that you create like with the person that you're talking to. Because like having that like personal like perspective like is really important. Like for me, like I became interested in like the music industry because I was like a One Direction fan first. And that's like I think that like that's like something that I didn't like to talk about, but I found that like sharing that with people, like people will connect to that because like maybe they had a similar experience with like another artist. Like a lot of people in the industry started out like being fans of artists. Right, exactly. So I think like being able to like share that and like connect with people on that type of level is like really important because it also like shows like your personal like connection to like music and the music industry. And I think that also is really helpful.
Yeah, I think if you don't have a lot of like traditional entertainment business like internships, definitely if you write like a line or two at the very top, just like explaining like what you want to work, or if you even write like aspiring music marketer or something like that, it'll give your resume it'll help the recruiter understand like what you want to go into and see the skills that will apply to that future role. So I think just having a line of what you want to do, like if it's even under your name, it'll help your resume stand out.
Thank you. We're going over time, which was not expected, but don't worry, like we'll try to answer everyone's question as much as we can, either tomorrow or you can connect with everyone on stage and get your questions answered. We only have time for about 2 more questions. So if you're in the queue, I'm sorry. So thank you, Andrew, for your question. And Antez. Am I saying that correctly? Please let me know.
Yes, it's Antez. The H is silent.
Okay.
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 All right. Oh my God. First, I want to say thank everybody for the. I've never been like so tuned into something. Like I've been like really like zeroing on everybody's stories. It's been amazing to watch and see. So I have my focus. I'm a senior now. I'm in my final year at Los Angeles Film School studying entertainment business management. And my goal is to enter the music industry with the focus of either A&R on the record label side or to work for a music publisher like Warner Chappell, like I think somebody mentioned before. But that I don't know if that requires any type of like technical skills or like graphic skills or, you know, design and that sort of thing, because I don't personally have those skills. So I want to know, like, is that something that I should develop if I'm not going into a creative, I guess, lane?
I actually also want to go into the field of A&R, whether it be at a record label or a publishing company. And when I do informational interviews with A&Rs, I love asking this question because not only does it kind of lead them to talk about their own story of getting into A&R, but also, you know, really it's very helpful to know. They usually sometimes A&Rs will talk about how they don't necessarily know any of like Pro Tools or Logic, but it is helpful. And in my program, I actually have to take music production classes. And when I was like a freshman and I was taking these classes, I was like, why did they make me take this class? Like, I don't want to be a music producer. I don't really understand. But then when I realized it wasn't that they were wanting me to be a master at all these things, but it was that they wanted me to be able to communicate with people who are masters. So I think this is kind of applicable to a whole bunch of different fields, in that you don't have to necessarily know like all these things. It would definitely be helpful, but you know, just knowing how to communicate with other people about those things that you might not completely have under your belt is very helpful. And you know, if you want to raise your chances of you know, getting into that kind of field, it definitely, you know, there are definitely resources out there to help you learn about all of those too.
Yeah, I worked at Warner Chappell, so I could definitely say they appreciate like graphic design talent. I didn't work in A&R. I worked in the digital department where we do licensing for like digital streaming platforms. But a lot of what my job entailed was doing research on different like companies that people haven't even like heard of, and because they're so small and obscure. But I think something that helped me stand out during the internship was that I had the opportunity to create these research reports and use if you guys know canva.com, like canva.com is my best friend because I hate graphic design with a passion. So Canva is like super helpful in making everything, like all your information, look really nice. And I know like bosses really appreciate when you can put effort into the presentation of the research report. Yeah, and instead of just leaving it black and white and paragraph form. So definitely like would stress at least having a graphic design platform that you're comfortable with.
Thank you. I forgot about Canva, but you just reminded me. I just wrote it down. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're gonna do last question will be Andrew.
My question is, are my chances of applying to like a coordinator or an assistant role at Warner, does that affect me positively, like negatively, since I wasn't involved with this classroom series?
I'm gonna answer because even though I'm not involved with anything, the answer is no. You know, you want to be a coordinator, you know, you want to be assistant. Okay, like, let's get to it. Like, let's make our way up. You don't have to be in a setting to network with people. Like, what in January, I knew I wanted to work at, like, make a list of the different companies, labels, or whatever that you want to work for, and then start reaching out to alumni, start reaching out to assistants and coordinators, reach out to interns who then make their way full-time. And then I will send you the template that I use. I know you. So I will send the template that I use, reach out to on LinkedIn, get it informational. And it's not like, connect with Jamara. She's doing the full-time job hunt. She's stressing on Instagram every day, but we know she gonna secure something. But yeah, it's just like make your way up with that. Like Rachel said, everyone's path is different. Like if you're a senior, your like chances aren't like, if you're a graduating senior, your chances aren't limited in terms of getting into these rooms. You just have to be more strategic and make a pivot. So like you're a senior and okay, you knew you're interested in Warner Music Group, you don't have you weren't a part of the classroom series, you didn't get an internship. Okay, that's fine, but like still connect with people, still learn as much as you can and find ways. Like maybe like there's something that works in adjacent to Warner Music Group, like an agency, like make your way that way. Like there's just so many ways to get to it. And like you don't feel like all of your chances are gone and like your hopes are lost. You know, I say this to everyone, if you know you are interested in a company, literally today, start making your way towards that. I did that in January for the company I'm interning in the summer, and I networked, I researched, I worked my ass off and I got the internship. So like, please just, you know the direction you want to go to. Okay, make a plan. Maybe it's talking to someone, maybe it's talking to Jamara who's like doing full-time stuff and like see her advice. Like this is on the third. I'm not going to extend it too long, but if Rachel has any insights, that would be great too. Or Jamara.
No, I think you did a great job at explaining that. Just simply put, I think for me, I would just say if you want it, you'll do whatever you need to get it. So yeah, simply put, yeah.
I think I'm not gonna lie, it's definitely it doesn't hurt you, but it helps other people to have it on their internship, have it on their resume. But I think if you can compellingly craft a story about like what you were doing in that time and why you want to go into the music industry and like how your experiences have helped you like solidify, because like these coordinator positions are full time, so this will become your job. So I think they're looking more closely at your skills and your knowledge of the industry versus whether you checked this checkbox off or not. So like I think it doesn't like hurt you, but it does definitely help others. But you can definitely like just tell a story and then you'll get the job if it's meant for you. Yeah.
Also, like do research on what an assistant does versus a coordinator. So an assistant does admin work versus a coordinator has a little bit more responsibility. Figure out the difference, and then also don't sleep on like agencies or smaller orgs or anything like that. Okay, y'all, we are over time, so we have to close up. But thank you everyone for coming out today. Like full of gems, full of knowledge. Feel free to post on Instagram, reshare our post, or post in the comments of your favorite takeaway. Feel free to reach out to us. That feedback helps bring more events like this. We did a previous event with the Career Classroom series for the spring, and some people who were at that Clubhouse event are now in the spring program, and the feedback that they gave to us helped us bring this event. So this is not the last event, y'all. Tomorrow we got the real event, not the real event, but the real one everybody wants to know. It's called Ask a Recruiter, right? So we got Ozma, the student programs lead who oversees the internship program, the Career Classroom series, Warner Music U, to answer your questions directly. We have one of my good sis, Arini, who is a career strategist. She helped me get my internship at Disney. She has helped people get multiple job offers at like so many companies I can't even name. And then we also have Sophie, who helps recruit for United Talent Agency. So I don't care where you at in terms of your career journey, but this is like the perfect event to get your questions answered in terms of answered in terms of the recruitment process. Please follow us across all platforms. And just thank you for coming out tonight, today. Thank you for coming today. And then also the panelists, thank you so much for speaking and sharing your insights. They're much appreciated. I got love for all of y'all. I learned so much from everyone. And let us know how we can help secure your dream internship.